Hey there, folks. It's the blank space.
And we fill it in.
With something. Something.
That something is still to be determined, but this time around, it's going to be spooky.
Yeah, very spoopy.
Wait, hold on, pause. Are we
what,
are we
what-
doing spooky or spoopy? Those are two completely different aesthetics.
I mean, we could. Doesn't really matter.
Boy, hold on.
But, but.
I don't know if I can keep doing a podcast with you if you don't know the difference between spooky and spoopy.
Alright, guy. How about you tell me what's up then?
Okay, spooky includes vampires, zombies, scary stuff, like stuff you'd see like in a Halloween store or something like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Okay.
Spoopy, with a P, with two P's,
Okay.
involves calcium, good bones,
Oh,
playing
okay.
a jingle on your ribcage.
Okay.
It's a good time. It's a good time for all. It's the complete opposite of scary times. It's good times.
Okay, I get what you're saying now, and I've picked up what you've put down. And it's in my pocket, but I don't think anybody else can pick it up.
Wait a minute. Is this like user locked? It is only available to. It's the sword in the stone.
I'm saying you are we have referenced something that you know, show notes. It'll be in the show notes.
Spoopy.
Okay. You know what time it is?
Uh, what time is it?
It's Halloween time.
Ooh, spooky.
All right.
Wow, I thought you'd help me out there a little bit, but I guess not.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. Well, we're definitely gonna be talking about scary stuff today. That's for sure.
Definitely. We've got some spooky stuff on the docket. But
What do we?
I wanted to ask you before we got into anything proper,
Okay.
how do you feel about Halloween? How are you feeling this time of year?
I actually think it's one of my favorite holidays.
Really? Why is that?
Yeah. Well, for one, you get to have fun with a bunch of friends. At least the way I celebrate Halloween. Usually going out to a few different parties with a few people. You know, do silly board games and dress up in probably your weirdest getup you can find, and you have fun that way.
Yeah, a little bit of that. I don't know if I'd call it my favorite time of year, but it's definitely up there. Um, I love the side of decorating. I love the side of people trick or treating. I love like figuring out what kind of costume you want, parties with your friends.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It feels different to every other holiday, mainly because like it's kind of letting anyone do whatever they want scare wise. Like the rest of the
Mm-hmm.
year, you can't really like scare people. Like it's weird to have like a dead body on your front lawn, a mannequin of a dead body. I want to clarify, but at least this time around, this time of year, people just go all out. People just kind of do whatever they think would terrify people and scare them and like make an interesting sight for people.
Mm-hmm. It's true. You don't really. I mean, sure, you have Christmas where they have like a bunch of like lights they put up and different decorations, but it's like the only. It's like one of the few times of the year where you can just, you know, have actual scary stuff on your lawn, and people are going to be like, "Oh, okay, we don't have to call the police."
Yeah, well, get like super creative with it, cause like you have uh here, tell you what, I'll tell a little anecdote. So
Okay.
when I was a kid, still trick or treating, I have a very vivid memory of somebody's house in my neighborhood. Like the whole house was dressed up to the nines for Halloween. There was orange lighting. There was like some arms in the yard. There was like a little bit of blood splatter on the door that you go up to and knock on. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember going up to the door and being a little spooked. And then I walk up to the door, knock, and nobody answers. And my dad points out, oh, they got the candy bowl over by that scarecrow. So I walk over to the scarecrow, about to grab something out of a bowl, and the scarecrow actually stands up and like kind of screams a little bit at me. And I just remember feeling like a primal fear, like in the bottom of my soul, like, oh God, this is how I die. The newspapers are going to say there's a child who died on Halloween from either stab wounds or a heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that was the fun of it. Like the guy got really creative with it, where he just kind of like sat on his porch in a scarecrow costume, a really good one, by the way. Like I didn't even notice there was a person in there, and with just a bowl of candy and scared the crap out of kids. That was great.
That is kind of great.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a kid, I had a house that really decked it out, and it absolutely terrified me to even go up to it.
Mm.
And they just had like such intricate decorations on their lawn that it was like, I'm so scared, I don't want to go near it.
I always really wanted to go like absolutely crazy for Halloween. Probably when like I'm a bit older, I've got like a nice place. I'm just gonna go all out with as much as I can on the sides of the house, everything. I want to be the house that like kids dare each other to go up to.
That sounds like a great thing.
Yeah.
The pastime is scaring children. Such a great thing.
It's wonderful. There's a holiday celebrating and everything. What are you dressing up for this year? Like, are you dressing up?
This is actually one of the rare years where I don't get to do anything.
What?
And it actually kind of makes me a little sad. It's a mix between having to attend classes. I actually have class all day on Halloween.
Oh.
And I had to work for the entire weekend, too, so it's not like I could go out either. So it's a little sad, but hey, that's just what the week was.
Yeah.
Hopefully next year I get to have a little more fun.
Yeah, that sucks a little bit. I'm sorry to hear that, but I mean, it sounds like maybe you'll still have a get together at some point with people.
Mm-hmm. At least know a few people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, this is a topic that is very, very controversial.
Mm-hmm.
What's actually your favorite candy?
What isn't my favorite candy?
Oh, you're a fat boy.
I look, October 31st until basically New Year's.
Mm-hmm.
All dieting plans and all like any amount of losing weight just goes out the window because it's just
Okay.
back-to-back things.
Okay.
From
That's
Halloween to leftover Halloween to Thanksgiving to leftover Thanksgiving to Christmas to New Year's. It's just one thing after another.
Mm-hmm.
I would say probably I'm really partial to 100 grand bars because I'm a man of class. I enjoyed expensive candy. But I gotta say I'm a fan of most candy, including candy corn.
Okay, that's fair.
How about you?
I probably have to say, and this is probably going to offend every European that hears this. I'm actually a huge fan of Hershey bars.
You heathen! You peasant! You plebeian! How dare you not understand that there's so much good candy out there? There's so much good chocolate.
I mean, I do really enjoy 100 gram bars too myself, actually. But probably Hershey's is like one of my favorites. But interesting thing though is the reason why a lot of Europeans hate Hershey bars is apparently there's some sort of like acid in it or something, right? Or whatever. It doesn't really matter. That is just absent from European diets. But it's in ours for some reason. And that's why Hershey's bar tastes so nasty. We're just used to it. So it doesn't really, we don't taste it. But since it's something they just don't ever have, they taste it immediately, and that's why they taste so bad.
Okay, so it's just a an area thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I buy that though because I mean I like Hershey's is okay,
Uh-huh.
but there's so many better options.
Okay.
Like I've been trying to seek out Wilbur Buds for a while now because Wilbur Buds are basically amazing Hershey Kisses.
Yeah, I
Like
have no
they're
idea what
Hershey
that
Kisses, but amazing.
Okay.
Have you ever had them?
I have not had them.
I'm gonna seek them out this year, and I'm gonna give you one, and you're gonna realize the error of your ways. I'm telling you right now.
You got
It's
a lot of hopes and dreams, and I
I
appreciate those hopes and dreams.
I do, some of which include chocolate and candy.
Okay.
But I
Yeah.
yeah, I could see me getting a Hershey bar and not being disappointed. But I don't know. Hershey has been kind of the bottom of the barrel for me lately because like I enjoy so many other candies like Hunter Grand, M&M's, Reese's, like a little bit of different taste to it rather than just chocolate.
I kind of just like the whole just kind of basicness to it, you know? It's just pure milk chocolate. I enjoy milk chocolate, right?
Hmm.
It's simple, and I'm okay with simple sometimes. Then again, I also really enjoy vanilla ice cream, so there may be something wrong with me.
Just a simple man, just a simple man.
Simple man from a simple time.
We're gonna expand your taste buds. We're gonna get you to try like toffee ice cream or something like that.
What is toffee anyway? Is that like a
Uh,
coffee or something?
no, it's oh god, it's been a while since I've had toffee. It's kind of like a. You know what? I'm not going to describe it because I know immediately as soon as I say anything that I'm not sure of, people are just going to rain down on top of me like, no, it's this. All right. Well,
I
let me
mean, I'm
choose.
okay with that.
All right. Well, how do you feel about some of the crazier candies out there, like candy corn, black licorice?
Ew.
I'm just gonna name all the garbage candies and just see which ones you like.
Oh, you mean mints?
Wait, hold on. Sorry. Can you repeat that for the people in the back?
Mints?
Now, please clarify when you say mints.
Well, I was originally trying to joke about, like toothpaste being a candy, but I
What?
actually don't like mint either.
What?
Because you know how like some households they would give toothbrushes and
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Because like I'm sitting here like, does he mean like Tic Tacs? Tic Tacs are great. Like they're just little mints. They're great. And like, oh, the Andes mints, they're
Okay.
great. And then
Well,
you
I
meant
mean,
like
you're allowed to have
toothpaste.
your opinions, and your opinions are valid for you.
And was there a house in your neighborhood that handed out toothpaste when you were a kid, and you just
Th-
held on to that forever?
I mean, just because there was doesn't mean I held on to it.
Actually, little side story. There was one year I went trick or treating, and I don't
Mhm.
remember them doing it again. It was only the one year where they handed out fruit, like apples, oranges, that kind of thing.
I
Now,
think I'd appreciate it if it was a mango.
now I don't hate the idea of getting fruit. I think it's kind of weird, but you know what? Whatever. I think it's certainly a little bit odd when you hand it to someone and it's like, here, have some fruit, and it feels a little old.
Oh,
Like it doesn't feel like months old. It doesn't feel like I could just crush it in my hand, but like
okay.
it felt like one of those like, oh, this has been sitting for like a few weeks in like the sun or something.
Well, that's kind of sad.
Yeah, it was certainly strange, but whatever.
I got you. I got you. I mean, I think I would appreciate that if it was like an interesting fruit.
If they handed you like a durian,
Yeah, yeah, something like that, like a durian or like
God,
a mango or something you wouldn't get at like every day kind of thing.
I'm just imagining like little like 8-year-old Andrew shows up like home with his like pillow sack of like candy, and my mom's like, okay, put it on the table, we'll figure out what you can have. And like I
And she just
dump
pulls
I,
out a
d-
pineapple.
I dump it out on the counter, and like Kit Kats and Reese fall out, and then a freaking durian hits the table and like cracks open, and the house just smells like ass for like the next week because a broken durian showed up on our kitchen table. That would be a memorable Halloween, I would say that much.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Is do you have like any actually like super weird stories of people handing out candy, like them handing out like fruit or something like that from your neighborhood?
Actually, I don't.
Hmm.
I think there was one house that gave out pencils.
Yeah, I remember that too, but like it was weird because I feel like they spent more money than if they spent money on candy.
Yeah.
Cause like they gave me like an eraser and a pencil and like a pencil sharpener, like a whole back to school kit instead of just like oh here's one pencil. It's like oh here's like a whole back to school set. I'm like you probably spent like a couple of bucks on this one thing for me. Like spend less. Just give me candy.
Yeah. Yeah, looking back, I should have appreciated that more. But I was like, oh, well, that sucks. There's
Look,
no candy.
look. As a kid, you can't appreciate that stuff. And
You
like,
can't.
and not even appreciate's the wrong word. You can't even like comprehend it because you're just looking at it. And you're thinking, "Oh boy, I'm gonna get candy," and then somebody drops a piece of wood with some lead in it, and like a pink eraser, and you're just like, "Wow, cool, thanks, neato."
That's for
Um,
sure. It
yeah,
is hard to appreciate that stuff as a kid.
a little
I
bit.
mean, then again, it is like the only time when, you can get like a mountain of candy, so it's a little understandable.
It's the one time of year where you could just walk around to strangers' houses, knock on them, and have the expectation of them not just yelling at you to get away from them.
I mean, I did that one other time, and I somehow got money out of it.
What?
Okay, so when I was like a real little kid, right?
Okay.
I actually would I did it for like a day, and my aunt found me and like yelled at me for it. I was knocking on neighbors' doors to have them pay me to sweep their front.
Like their stoop? Like just like going up with it like a broom?
Yeah, and basically like clean off their front kind of deal.
What were you charging?
Whatever they would give me. I think I was like 8 at the time or something like that, and I came home with like $8, and my aunt was freaking out, like, "How did you get this money?"
Oh my god, I'm just imagining like me as an adult and a kid comes up to the door and he's like, "Let me sweep your front, mister." And I'm like, "Okay, sure." And he does it and then he comes back and he's like, "All done, mister." And he holds out his little palm and I'm like, "Oh jeez, I didn't plan on giving you money. Uh what do I have? Here's some Canadian coins you can have."
I'm just gonna say that would make my day as a kid. I got foreign money. Me.
Yo, I got some like Canadian coins down there from the last time I cashed in some change. Do you want it? Like, I got nothing to do with it. You know what? No. I'll give it to some kid on Halloween. I'll answer the door and they'll be like, trick or treat. I'll just kind of like give them some candy and dump the coins in there and be like, be gone.
Wow. Could you not sound more elite? Oh, the peasants have come again this year.
Time to drop
Yeah,
change.
take money. You need this.
Time to drop. No. Okay, so here's where I come down from that pedestal. It's not money that you can use here. They can't go down to the. I was gonna say five and dime, and I'm like, oh my god, what am I saying? There's no such thing as a five and dime.
Yeah.
Like I can't. You can't go down to the local Wawa or something like that and be like, oh yeah, let me get this. Let me get this nickel's worth of candy. Like the cheapest thing there is like 30 cents, so you can't even get anything. And on top of that, it's Canadian currency. No one's gonna take it.
I mean, I don't know, man. I've seen those clerks before, man.
That's actually
You
true.
could
They
just,
might
you could,
actually
you
just
could
take
hand
it
them a
and keep
washer,
moving.
and you may get some gum out of it.
Just walk up there and give them like a coin that they've never seen before, and they're like, I don't know, sure, whatever. Am I
Was
really
that a
gonna fight you
real?
over a piece of
Whatever.
gum?
I wonder how much of an issue that is.
What?
Just like how much foreign currency like tellers accidentally accept.
Um.
Like, is it significant, or like is it just like a very small amount?
Well, when I worked in retail, it was never a problem with paper bills. Like paper bills are distinctive. Like you could tell which one's like an American dollar versus any other currency. They're pretty distinctive. But coins, I guess, can be used. But
I
that's
mean, nobody checks a quarter to check it, make sure it's real. You could end up accepting like Chuck E. Cheese tokens.
look. I don't know too many coins that are gold, like a Chuck E. Cheese token, unless it's like a dollar coin.
Whatever.
I
But
I don't think it's a rampant issue. I don't think the political figureheads of this country are too worried about foreign currency being circulated for real American currency.
yeah, you're probably right. But you know what is something that should be worried about?
Mm.
The real topic for today.
Wait, the real topic isn't candy corn?
No, we got something as scary though.
Oh, what's scary?
Voting.
Ah! It's so scary. I was trying to go for like one of those like 1930s
Uh-huh.
housewives who see a mouse on the floor, but I realized I probably can't do that.
You tried though, and I appreciate your attempt. It.
That is the correct word, attempt, but like that
Yep.
certainly was not a good attempt.
I don't actually have a solid emotion to this, so yeah, voting.
Yeah, voting. It's actually coming up in our state soon.
It's the 7th, if I'm correct, right?
Yes.
Ooh. Tuesday, November 7th. What a time it shall be.
Can I do a little quick aside before we really get into it? Why is it
Okay.
voting is always on the worst day? It's
Um,
never on like a Friday or a Saturday or a Sunday. It's always like a Tuesday.
mm, maybe they're hoping people won't go out and vote. I don't know. It could be a conspiracy or something.
I was hoping for a practical explanation, but no, you were like, I don't know, maybe the big figureheads of corporate America want to figure out how to get people not to vote. I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, or it could just be a government reason. It could be that's like the easy. It probably is that like volunteers and like people who work the polls and all that are hard to come out on weekends because they have plans and everything like that.
Actually, it's not that hard. You just get a bunch of retired people to do it.
Right, but I mean like during the week they have nothing to do and maybe on the weekends they do have something like family visit or something like that.
No, they don't. They're retired.
Wow, okay, way to shut down our retired audience, Ant. Come on now.
Well, I'm just saying because I know my father. He actually works for the polling places,
Hmm.
and when he goes out, right, I mean, they pay them a good amount of money to do it, basically. So it's like, well, we're not gonna go out this weekend kind of deal, or whatever day it is, because they actually do pay like a good amount of money for what it is.
Right, right. But I could see a situation. God, we're getting way too far into this. I could see a situation where it would be easier to tell someone, "Hey, you're helping out with polling. We need you
Hmm.
here on a Tuesday," versus, "Hey, I need you here all day on a Saturday." Because
Well, they give actually a lot of notice for signups for that kind of thing. So it's actually not particularly an issue for getting the people that work the polls out. Because
yeah,
usually the people that do it every year kind of deal. So
I guess, but I don't know if I fully agree. I could absolutely see somebody having plans for a Saturday or a Sunday
hmm
versus in the middle of a if you're retired in the middle of a week on a Tuesday, not a whole lot.
hmm
But okay,
yeah, I can see.
that's enough about theorizing about voter polling employment.
Yeah.
What did you want to talk about specifically with elections? What did you let's narrow it down a little bit.
Yeah. What I wanted to talk about a little bit was why does it matter to vote, and how close really are elections? Because for some elections, it seems that the votes can be incredibly close.
Hmm.
like for instance, there was an election up in Vermont, I believe, where it was literally decided by a single vote how the if the official would actually be elected. It
Hmm.
was something like for like a spot or something like that. But it just kind of shows you that in some places, going out to vote can make a difference, and that's a 2016 election. Uh, the biggest thing that I see is that there needs to be a bit more involvement in local elections because local elections are what really decide what affects you. That's kind of the thing that I'm going off of right here. Like for instance, for the current election that we have coming up, it doesn't decide anything national for us. It's all governor and state senate and members of the general assembly and
Yeah, it's
the
not
board of
presidential.
chosen
It's
freeholders.
local government. It's state government.
Mm-hmm. And in many places, voter turnout rates for midterm elections are 20% lower than the regular presidential elections. So there's a whole 20% of people that will most likely not vote, even though they normally do for presidential elections.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, well, let's answer the first question that you said
Okay.
really, really a few moments ago. Why voting is important?
Sure.
That's that's an easy one to me.
Mm-hmm.
Voting is basically how you get your voice heard within your state.
Mm-hmm.
The way you vote influences how things are planned, how things are made within your state down to the local level, which affects you a lot more than something like a presidential election does. Presidential election has wide sweeping results, but at the same time, your mayor and your governor do a lot more to affect your day-to-day life over the man sitting in the big chair in the White House.
That is true.
It's funny because I was watching I forget if it was earlier this year or the end of last year, but Dave Chappelle came back to do a comedy special.
Okay.
He had been gone for a really long time, like not doing comedy for a long time. And in his set, he actually mentioned like, "Hey, you guys probably noticed that like I showed up to a town hall meeting in my state, and I did that because it's important. I did that because I want people. I want my voice heard on the issues that I have in my community."
Mm-hmm.
And you think about that, and you have a man as well known and rich and famous as Dave Chappelle showing up to his local town hall meeting to make the change that he wants to see. That kind of perfectly encapsulates what an election is about as well. You want to talk to these people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely true. Because if you don't end up voting, you don't get your voice heard, and it's. I mean, the you will find that the richer a person is, the more likely they are to vote because they realize that it does matter.
Yeah. It
Mm-hmm.
it really does come down to that if you want your voice heard, you need to vote. It's as simple as that. And voting always sounds harder than it actually is. Like voting includes like you signing up to vote, you showing up to
Mm-hmm.
the polling place between these hours. Most of the time,
Mm-hmm.
like this year, it's on a Tuesday, so people work. And after work, you're probably tired and don't want to go. It's it sounds difficult, but honestly, if you do a little bit of paperwork beforehand and show up to a place, it's painless. You just
Yeah.
show up and do the thing.
I mean, some places have really long voting lines. That is true,
That
but
is
that is
true.
not the majority of cases at all.
But
And
but if you show up and have to wait in a long line, you can catch up on our backlog while you're in line.
that's true. And I think something that's very important to cite is that those with money vote.
Mhm.
For instance, in the 2012 election, right? 80 percent of those making more than 150,000 a year voted. I think that's an important statistic to think of.
Yeah.
That those with money often vote.
Yeah, it directly affects them. It directly affects
Mm-hmm.
everybody, but I guess the results are a lot more visible to people who have a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the next point I want to bring up is, um, what did you say exactly? You wanted to know like why people don't vote or something like that. What was it again?
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of interesting why people don't vote.
Um, I get it and I don't get it at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I get it because of the reasons I stated before. It's semi. There's effort you have to put in to go vote. Sorry. There's effort you have to put in to go vote. You have to register. If you want to be an informed voter, you have to look up all the
Mm-hmm.
people that are on the ballot, which
It is a little
sometimes,
bit of footwork to get done.
yeah, sometimes it's not easy. And I think I've griped before on this podcast that, like, sometimes you look at that list of people and you can't find any information about them at all.
Mm-hmm.
But just simply by you going and voting, your voice is being heard. Even if you're just voting because you like Democrat or you like Republican. Even if you're just voting that is important because people are using that to shape the way that they make policy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny. I would think honestly, like you said before, the midterm elections usually are not big turnouts. They're not presidential.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't be shocked if this midterm was actually something that people really got involved in. Um, I look,
Why would you say that?
look. I don't like to get political. I really don't.
Okay.
But there's a lot of people in this country who are very, very unhappy with how the current administration of the Trump presidency is going and how the entirety of Congress feels Republican and feels like they're just doing what they want and it's not the change that a lot of people want. Whether it
Mm-hmm.
be Democrat, Independent, or even Republican, people aren't happy seeing what's going down.
You're
And
not
I've been
wrong.
noticing a big movement to try and just get that changed. Not specifically like, oh, get Trump out of office, but change who is voting on this. Your governor, your senate, your congressman, like trying to change that to independent, to Democrat, to a different Republican, like try and get new blood in there or something like that. I'm noticing a
Mm-hmm.
big push for this. So I think there's a reason for people to get really into this one.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah, have you been
Uh,
noticing anything like that? Like I
I
don't
mean,
want to feel
I
like I'm
feel like
alone in this.
people. I feel like people are more fed up with how things are. It's just kind of sad that this isn't one of the elections to, you know, actually change anything on the national level. This is a purely local election.
Right, but even
That's the other thing
local
that kind
election
of.
can affect.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. Because it could definitely change how a state acts, and with compliance with the national laws and all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
So I definitely agree with that. Like it can change how things are seen, uh, for sure.
Yeah, I I think this election, this midterm, is going to be interesting because people will look at it and say like, oh, for some reason millennials were a big push at this election. Like a lot of people showed up to the polls between the ages of 18 to 35. Why
Hmm.
is that? I think that'll be the reason.
I hope that's going to be the case.
I think so.
Because I do talk with I actually did a small little survey, at my place of employment, of the percentage of people that vote and don't vote,
Hmm.
and it turns out like a good 60% vote where I work.
Hmm. Yeah, it's strange because like I look at it growing up in the 90s where people were very apathetic about voting, and I think honestly like the 90s to early 2000s was like some of the lowest voting turnout in modern history. I'd have to look that up, but I believe like I believe in the 90s it was kind of it was around there.
Hmm.
Um I feel like voting is kind of coming back in a weird way. Like people are very into their politics now. It's for better or worse. I mean, I'll say that people are definitely into their politics, but I feel like that is a positive thing in the sense that people are going out and voting on this.
Hmm.
People are participating in it. Now participation in all elections is still not going to be where the country probably wants it.
Yeah, because right now it averages for like on national elections. I think it was in 2016. It was 60% of the voting population voted,
Yeah.
and for the previous midterm elections, somewhere around like 36% voted. Like it's the numbers are not really that good.
They're not. They're not. But I wouldn't be shocked if historically we start to see a bump right around now in voting participation. Um, Now I'm talking over the course of like several elections, not over the course of like one.
Okay.
Maybe one, maybe it'll be a weird spike, but like if we take historical data, I feel like between when Obama was elected and I want to say like the next probably 4 to 5, maybe even 6 elections, people are going to feel really strongly about their politics.
That's fair. It definitely has become more polarized in the last few years.
Yeah, because right now we have the Trump presidency, which not a lot of people are happy with. So people are going to go out and
Mm-hmm.
vote against it or for it if they are for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then when that comes to an end, how people are going to vote after that. And I think that's when you might start to see a dip depending how those elections go. But right now I think we're in a time where people are kind of really getting into it.
That's true. You know, I think would be actually be a little bit helpful
What?
if we actually say what positions are actually up for election at the moment. Do you know
Yeah.
what positions are?
I'm sorry, second.
I said, do you know what positions are up for election?
I have this handy dandy piece of paper that the state of New Jersey sent me, so I have it right in front of me here.
Ooh, look at that. I happen to have one as well.
What? That's craziness. It's almost like we're living in the 21st century.
What a time.
Sorry about that. I'm getting over a little sickness.
It's all good. It's all good. I'll edit that
But,
out.
Ant, would you like to inform the kind people at home what we're voting for in the midterm if we're not voting for president?
Sure, sure. Currently, we are voting for the governor of New Jersey. I assume other states are voting for, similar positions, so it's good that you get out as well. Uh, Especially for Pennsylvania. I know your election's going to be very contentious. We are also voting for members of the state senate at the moment, which is essentially the upper house, and members of the General Assembly, which is the lower house. Both of which pretty much determine how the budget's going to be spent. They enact what state laws, which are going to affect you, like the whole traffic light camera thing. They're pretty much in charge of if that comes back or not,
God, I
or
hope
deciding. Yeah, that's for sure. They're the people who decide those state laws, so they are very important for you to know because they also have the ability to possibly lower property taxes if they put caps in or the lack of caps. We also have the members of the Board of Chosen Freeholders, which is a unique New Jersey thing, actually. Nobody else actually has freeholders. We're it.
not. We're the only ones, really?
Yeah, I was surprised to find that out doing a little bit of research. Apparently, New Jersey is one of the few places that actually have freeholders,
Hmm.
which essentially act as both administrative and executive uh, members in the local governments, right?
Hmm.
That pretty much lead up different committees for most likely county, on the county level. And they pretty much determine, oh, I mean, what specific little laws may be enacted in your area, or what sort of programs can be enacted in your area to help, development and all that kind of stuff. Which is very important to look after. We also have at least for my district, we have the members of the local board of education, which is, if you have kids, is important for you. These are the people that decide how your kid's going to be taught.
That is that alone is pretty important.
Mm-hmm. And believe it or not, in my district, there's 3 spots open and only 2 people running. So there's been a discernible lack of interest in the members of local board of education. That makes me sad. That means I probably could have ran and probably put my name in there and actually won.
How do you
Just
think
because
that
I would
would
have had my name on the ballot.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. You could do a write-in. You could write yourself in.
I think I'm going to do that. just to see if it could happen.
Vote yourself into it.
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna. I'll throw up my nomination right now.
Okay, let me know how that goes. Let me know if you have
Sure.
if you have the time to do the podcast after joining the board of ed.
Yeah, I'm just kind of curious if I could just write my name in and suddenly become a member, because there's only 2 people running.
I think you need a few votes to have that happen. Just letting you know.
I know, but sometimes people. I mean, come on. There's only 2 out of 3 people that should be running. That's just. I'm gonna post something on Facebook, and have people vote for me. See how that works.
All right, this is gonna be all right. You heard it here, folks. I genuinely did not know this was gonna happen. So all right, I think Ant might be running for an office here.
I'm just kind of curious if it would even happen or not. Oh well, we'll see.
Tell you what, but by the next time we do a podcast, you'll have an answer whether you're on the board of education or not. I think we'll even post a little update to the Facebook page. Like, hey, just so you know, guys, the podcast might be a little late. Ant's now on the board of education, so.
That'd be funny if that turned out to be the case. Jeez. I'd actually have to go in with a suit and tie. That'd be interesting.
Just show up at your local polling place and be like, hey, remember to vote for me at Board of Ed. I'm not on the list, but definitely write my name down.
I think that's illegal.
You can advertise outside of the polling place.
Can you? I'm pretty sure that's not allowed.
I think so, because there's people outside of polling places all the time that are like, oh, are you voting here? Vote this way or something like that. I feel like that's a thing.
We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see
There's
about
also-
that.
There's also 2 referendums that are on at the moment. Well, yeah, vote at state public questions, basically.
Yeah, unless you're a New Jersey local, I don't think they'll apply to people.
Yeah. So the one is, what is it? The Library Construction Bond Act. Which pretty much allows...
Wow, I know
the
how you
state
feel
to
about
sell-
libraries.
Well, here's the thing, right? It's basically saying, hey, will you allow us to take on more debt to build libraries that we can't afford? That's the gist of what it's asking. And the second question is the constitutional amendment dedicating monies from state environmental contamination cases. Which is essentially saying, hey, if we sue companies or whatever, and we get money from it, we have to put that money towards, whatever damage they caused.
I'm sure that money will definitely go towards that.
So you man.
Yeah.
But those are the 2 questions we have at the moment.
Yeah. Please look into that, because a midterm election is not just voting for your voting for people. It's voting for kind of policy as well. Like we just said, we have these 2 questions on here. I know some states get really like crazy with it. Like I think California for the national election had something like 14 questions on their ballot. I remember hearing something along those lines. But it's certainly like worth looking into because they're a little wordy. They're a little they are a little difficult to parse if you're just standing in the booth the day of.
Hmm. They also have, yeah, they also have these interpretive statements on them, which are interesting. I'm not really sure what those. It's just kind of interesting that they have them worded as they do. It seems
Well,
like they're trying to sell it one way or another.
well, I think that's just putting it in layman's terms, but definitely it could be
Hmm.
biased towards one way or the other. It really
Yeah,
depends.
the way I definitely read the first question was, "Hey, will you allow us to spend money that we don't have for libraries we can't afford?"
Hmm.
I mean, I like libraries, and libraries are great. I like my public library, but yeah, that sounds like a bad idea, especially in a state that has trouble balancing its budget. Let's take
What?
on more debt.
What? You're saying you don't want the librarians to be paid? You're anti-librarian?
I would like to stand that as a current runner for the Board of Education, that that I am against unfavorable terms to our financial budget.
Hmm. The first thing you're taking a stand on. I see how it is.
That is not within my control.
Ah. You're doing a great job already. You're doing a
I'm
wonderful
tr-
job.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
Oh man. Whew. I mean, even though you may hear this and you're not from New Jersey, I suggest that you still take an active interest in what in your local elections, just because of how much they can impact you, and just to see like, it do people even run for the spots? I think you were saying on your voter on one of your what is it positions that there's only one person running for a
Yeah.
position completely unopposed.
Yeah, for state senate there's only one person running for the whole kit and caboodle.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's interesting.
It just kind of says that if you take an active interest in your local politics and you don't like how they have been running things, you can sometimes be able to take charge and change things on your own. Be able to step up and be able to, well, run and actually get elected a position if there's just a lack of will around you. It's those that try that, well, end up succeeding after all.
Which is exactly why Ant is running for the Board of Ed. He wants to be the change that he sees.
I am your write-in candidate for the 2017 election.
No matter the
I
state.
found out about it 7 days before the election, 8 days before the election, and it's gonna be a quick campaign. Quick campaign.
All right, Ant, what are you standing on for Board of Education?
um,
what are your top things?
I am for better education and better education.
Good, solid. What makes better education?
What makes better education is empowering young people to pursue their dreams and realize that trade jobs are a secondary option besides university. You too can be an electrician. You too can be the carpenter. Because, not all of you are smart enough to go to college.
I don't think I've ever heard I don't think I've ever heard somebody slap down their entire voting base at the same time as telling them to go be what they want to be.
Okay, in all seriousness, though, I know the trades you have to be smart to do those too. That was just a little throw out there.
Are you sure about that? You sounded pretty dedicated to the cause there.
Let's be honest, construction jobs, you can always pursue a construction job. But there are also more technical ones that do require like a decent amount of knowledge, which would be like electrician and, and certain plumbing positions, as well. So Yeah, honestly, I think throwing trades as an option out there besides university or just offering community college and just letting know that's an availability, I feel like is a very important thing. Because I do feel like a lot of kids in high school either aren't given proper guidance on what they should do or where they should go, and pretty much what. And it just seems that there is just a lack of options. Whether they're present or not doesn't matter. They just don't know of them, and I think that's something that actually is important.
All right. Informing young people about their options. That seems like a decent idea.
Mm-hmm.
That might be that might be more person specific though.
You're right.
So,
It is very person specific. That's why I think allowing for more guidance in schools would be a very good thing to do. But then again, it's been a little bit since I've been to high school, so
what are you talking about? No, it's only been a minute.
It's been like 6 years or something now.
Who's counting?
So I'm not very informed on the specific policies that are in place, but I at least know that you should do good things for them. So that's good. I don't like wasting money, so that's good too.
You're doing a great job. Now you just got to get a website.
All right. I think I could probably swing something with Squarespace. What, 7 days or something?
Just make a Facebook page. Just make a Facebook page so at least someone can find you.
You know what? I'm gonna do that after we're done recording. I'm just
my
gonna
God,
post it
you're
up there
taking
and
this.
see.
You're taking this the whole way.
I'm curious how many votes I can get just by writing in and just throwing stuff on Facebook.
And,
If I could get elected with that I'm not sure what that says.
and it's 7 days before the election. You're gonna get an inspirational movie made after you if you figure out a way to get elected in less than a week with no plans.
Oh my God, that's gonna say so much about trying in the electoral process, though.
Well, you heard it here first. You've been introduced to the main man, the man who will be leading our children in teaching them about more options for their future after public school. The man who didn't know who David Bowie was will now be teaching your children where to go in their life.
Hey, I knew he was in Labyrinth. He's an actor, right?
I'm sorry. Okay. The man who will be leading your children knew David Bowie as a man in a children's movie who played with balls. He will be teaching your children which way they should be taking their lives. Can I do your campaign commercial? Can I do that?
I mean, sure.
All right, cool. I need no script. No script whatsoever. I'm going to wing it.
Sounds good.
I'm actually going to keep track on you. I'm going to message you daily and see how the polling's going. I'm going to see how this
I don't even know how to
goes.
check for that.
Huh?
I don't even know how to check for that.
How many likes are you getting on a Facebook page? That's the best you're going to do.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Well, we covered a topic today, Drew.
We didn't cover a topic. We gave you free advertising. This is your plan all along. This is why you wanted to talk about this.
Did we miss anything we wanted to talk about?
I don't know. Did you want to talk more about your run for Board of Ed?
No.
I think we covered everything.
Sweet.
People,
Well,
go out and vote.
Go out and vote. Get interested. It can get you far.
Get motivated. Get hype.
You could even become your local Board of Education member.
Okay, very quick before we wrap, I'm going to find out real quick how many write-in votes you need to be elected. How many write-in votes do you need to be elected? Let's see. Write-in candidate. This is probably riveting audio stuff, but
It is It is great. I am having an enthralling time.
Um, I'm noticing a number of like 200.
Oh, I have that many Facebook friends.
Are you gonna get that? You gonna get
I
every
mean,
single one of them to vote for you within your district?
you know what? Sure. Why not? Let's just. I'm just curious if this is possible
Oh,
at
it's
this
different.
point.
It's different per state. Per state, it's different how many votes you need to be uh, considered.
I mean, that's fine, but we're just gonna see how this goes. We're just gonna see how it goes.
I didn't realize actually New Jersey is like one of 10-ish states that just allow full-in write-in votes. There's a lot of states that just don't really allow that. Huh. I'll have to look into that. All right, I'm
Mhm.
getting sidetracked. I'm getting derailed.
Well, this was the blank space.
And we filled it in with something.
Yep, something.
We filled it in with your votes for Anthony.
Yep, vote for me, because I'm not the other guy.
But there
Actually,
is
vote
no
for
other
me,
guy.
because somebody else didn't run.
There's no other guy. You are the guy. There's 3 people needing to run, and there's only 2.
Alright, have a nice one, folks.
See ya.
I thought I'd clue this in the end. I'm not actually running. Please don't vote for me. I will be very sad. Have a nice one.